and welcome. Today we are discussing the role and relevance of community newspapers with special reference to India. In the previous part we discussed about types of newspapers, their circulation and readership, and also the definition of a community newspaper. Now we will discuss about functions, role, relevance and types of community newspapers that we have in India. So what are the functions of a community newspaper? Mainstream sociology has generally accepted the idea of mass media as an agent of socialization. Likewise, the local media provides local socialization experience. It is concluded that if the large daily does a better job in socializing its readers with respect to their relation to their larger community, the weekly does a better job of knitting together its readers with the little misunderstandings which are the essence both of communication and of community. It is said that local advertising is the second function. The number of local businesses which purchase advertising can be seen as a sign of the level of support for the community newspaper. It is an indicator of the level of commitment, at least of the local business community. The rise of local business interests may have helped to spur the rise of local newspapers, as circulation areas often match the trading areas for commercial enterprises. Newspapers can play a role in the maintenance of services and in the community's continued perceptions of the value of certain services. It can relate how newspapers can act as a significant intermediary between public perceptions of rural hospitals and the hospitals themselves. There was this particular study which actually revealed how community newspapers are directly linked to the community. And there are several benefits of a community newspaper. Community newspapers play a vital role in communities across the globe. The information age has changed the way many people get their news, but local newspapers continue to serve as a valuable resource for readers interested in learning more about it and becoming more involved in their communities. These newspapers keep readers up to date on their own communities. Globalization may be here to stay, but that does not mean local communities are no longer home to newsworthy events. National and international newspapers and 24-hour news channels can keep men and women up to date on national and world news, but in many instances, community newspapers are the only means people have to learn about what's going on in their own communities. Local politics impact residents' lives every day, and local newspapers cover local politics extensively. Community newspapers benefit nearby businesses. Small businesses, business owners often connect with community members via community newspapers. A strong, locally based small business community can improve economies in myriad ways, creating jobs in the community and contributing tax dollars that can be used to strengthen local schools and infrastructure. Community newspapers do their part by providing affordable and effective advertising space to local business owners looking to connect with their communities. Such newspapers can strengthen communities. They are great sources for residents who want to become more active in their communities and learn more about community events. Such newspapers often showcase community events like carnivals, local theatre productions and projects like park cleanups. These are great way for readers to become more active in their communities and build stronger communities as a result. Such newspapers are also of immense benefit to children. National newspapers may have little age appropriate content to offer young children, but local newspapers tend to include more soft news items than national periodicals, and such stories typically are appropriate for young readers. According to Newspapers in Education, students who participated in a group in Florida performed significantly better in spelling and vocabulary than non-readers. Additional studies have also indicated that students who use newspapers in the classroom perform better on reading tests than those who do not use newspapers in class. So how do they sometimes also set the agenda? Newspapers, more than any other medium, basically determine the hot button issues that are debated and voted on in communities large and small. Newspapers set the agenda for public policy debate when editors and publishers decide which stories will be covered, how much coverage will be devoted to certain issues, and which stories will be given prime placement and called to the reader's attention. In addition, the editorial page gives newspaper readers, the editors, a chance to advocate for certain causes. Agenda setting role is especially important in a digital age when readers often suffer from information overload. As the past decade has shown, most citizens really have the know-how, tenacity, and resources to pursue and investigate complex policy issues and their far-ranging implications. Blogs and other sources of citizen journalism lack the context and analysis that professional reporters and editors have historically proved. So they sometimes lack certain reliability. Often this reliability and authenticity that printed publications provide are even more enhanced in community newspapers, where the main objective is public service and welfare. A local writer knows his or her community well and therefore knows better than to scam their readers with false information for profit motive. Community newspapers also encourage economic vitality in a region by providing a marketplace for readers and advertisers to connect. Market surveys have shown that even in a digital age, most people buy goods and services close to home. Hence, there is still a need for a central marketplace that allows local merchants to inform current and potential customers about the multiple products and services available in the area. Sometimes advertisers express a desire to support a local newspaper. Journalists on the paper have an equally important role in encouraging long-term economic growth and overall prosperity in the community. Through the agenda-setting function, editors and reporters nurture discussion around issues that can either impede or accelerate economic growth. By publicizing a deep-seated economic problem afflicting a region, such as a low high school graduation rate, a newspaper helps a community begin to develop a strategy for addressing high unemployment in the region. Community newspapers can also unite the various political and governmental entities in our geographic region and help us understand what our vote means to the larger community, or why we should be concerned about a certain issue that especially affects our town or the zip code. A good local newspaper also informs us of nearby employment opportunities and guides our shopping activities in the area. It connects us socially with others in the community who share our passions, our interests, and also our concerns. Information obtained from a community publication specifically designed to foster a sense of community with positive motives of growth and welfare for its readers and members of the community cannot be matched by disintegrated information from broadcast and digital media. And this is the global perspective of a community newspaper. It reveals a diverse landscape, it reveals a diverse landscape shaped by regional characteristics, digital transformation, and varying level of press freedom. Despite these differences, community newspapers worldwide shared the common goal of serving their local audiences with news and information that is most relevant to them. So you find three things: cultural and political influence, economic viability, and digital transition. In some countries, community newspapers play a vital role in promoting cultural identity, especially in regions with diverse ethnic groups and languages. They can be critical in giving a voice to minority communities. The economic challenges faced by community newspapers are a global issue. Many rely on local advertising. Many rely on local advertising, which has been in decline due to the competition from online platforms. The financial sustainability strategies vary, with some finding success in digital subscriptions, crowdfunding, and community support models. The shift to digital media is a worldwide trend affecting community newspapers. In many developed countries, community newspapers have embraced online platforms, social media, and digital editions to reach broader audiences and engage with younger readers. So, again we find two things: community engagement and development, and also journalistic practices. Globally, community newspapers are lauded for their role in community engagement and development. They spotlight local issues, celebrate community achievements, and foster a sense of belonging. This is a universal aspect, relevant in both urban and rural settings across different continents. There is a wide variation in journalistic standards and practices. In countries with strong press freedom, community newspapers can be a breeding ground for investigative journalism at the local level, holding local governments and businesses accountable. So, during the late 19th and early centuries, several newspapers and publications emerged in India that address specific communities or regions. Many of these publications were closely tied to social and political movements, advocating for the rights and interests of different communities. One such example could be Samachar Sudhabarshan, which was associated with the pre-independence movement led by Raja Ram Mohan Roy during the early 19th century. At this time, another important concept emerged of Indian community newspapers. They can be traced back to when Indian immigrants began setting in different parts of the world. They felt the need for a means of communication that could connect them, provide information about their community, and address their specific interests and concerns. Content of these newspapers typically included news from India, updates on the local Indian community, cultural events, information about religious and social activities, and discussions on issues affecting the community. The struggle for independence provided a platform for various communities to express their views and concerns through newspapers. These newspapers served as platforms for political leaders, activists, and intellectuals to express their views, mobilize public support, and create a sense of national identity. They played a crucial role in shaping public opinion and fostering a spirit of unity among diverse communities in the common cause of achieving independence from British colonial rule. So, notable community newspapers of the time were like Kesari, Vande Bharat, Vande Mataram, Amrit Bazar, Hindu, Navjivan, and Swadesh Mitram. Post-independence, post-1947, we have seen a surge in community newspapers catering to specific linguistic, religious, or cultural groups. These newspapers played a crucial role in preserving and promoting cultural identity as well as addressing the issues faced by particular communities. With technological advancements, many community newspapers in India have transitioned to digital platforms, reaching a broader audience both within the country and globally. Online community news portals have become increasingly popular, providing a space for communities to stay connected and informed. Some notable community newspapers of the day are like this: the Parsi Times, the Malayalam Patram, Sikh Siyasat News, Marathi Daily, Hans India, Samaj, Mangalam, Purvanchal, and so on. So how do these community newspapers work? They focus on content, local news and events. They report on local news, community events, school reports, town hall meetings, and other local activities that are of interest to the community that they serve. They also focus on human interest stories. These newspapers often feature stories about local residents, businesses, and other community aspects to foster a sense of community and connection. Staffing generally is the problem. Many community newspapers are staffed by members of the community, including both professional journalists and community contributors. But since they are not working on a profit basis, arranging and maintaining staff sometimes becomes cumbersome. Volunteers often play a significant role, contributing their time to write articles, take photos, and help with the distribution of the newspaper. Advertising. Local business businesses advertise in these newspapers as a way to reach their community. This is a primary source of revenue for many community newspapers. Subscriptions and sales. While some community newspapers are free and distributed to residents, others may require subscriptions or are sold at local stores. Sponsorships and grants. Some community newspapers also receive funding through sponsorships or grants, especially those focusing on specific issues or serving underrepresented communities. Distribution, print and digital. While traditionally print-based, many community newspapers now also have a digital presence through websites and social media platforms, allowing for wider distribution and engagement. Direct mail and public stands. Print copies are often distributed via direct mail to residents or placed in strategic public locations for pickup, such as grocery stores, libraries, and community centers. Financial stability. One of the biggest challenges is financial stability, especially with the shift to digital media and the decline in print advertising. Keeping up with the technology, adapting to new technologies, and maintaining an online presence can be challenging, especially for smaller publications with limited resources. There are different newspapers, community newspapers that are published in India. One of them is Gram Sathi, timely information dissemination on agricultural practices, weather forecasts, and government schemes is one of the objectives. The other objective is to empower the community by highlighting success stories, local initiatives, and opportunities for skill development. They focus on seasonal crops, calendars, best practices, and market information, profits of successful farmers, profiles, cooperative efforts, and community projects, detailed explanations of available schemes and how villagers could benefit, tips on hygiene, preventive health care, and educational opportunities. Just imagine how much they contribute to the societies that we live in. Distribution of this particular community newspaper is free of cost to every household in the village. The printed copies are given to them. Online version for those with access to smartphones. They do collaborations with NGOs for health camps, skill development, workshops, and educational programs. Government outreach, which facilitates interactions between government officials and villagers to address concerns and disseminate information. Regular community meetings are organized to gather feedback and discuss topics of interest. Involvement of local writers encourage local talent to contribute articles and share knowledge. The impact is very encouraging. Farmers reported increased crop yields and better income due to improved agricultural practices. Adoption of modern techniques showcased in the newspaper contributed to sustainable farming. Local success stories inspired others, fostering a sense of pride and empowerment. With the help of NABARD, it has been able to support rural women greatly through self-help groups. Community-led initiatives such as water conservation projects gained momentum, and they try to adhere to child protection policy and is committed to provide protection to poor children from abuse, neglect, exploitation, and violence. Educational advancements through such community newspapers, increased awareness about government scholarships and programs led to higher enrollment in schools. Skill development articles contributed to the emergence of local entrepreneurs. Improved health practices resulted in a decrease in preventable diseases. Increased participation in health camps and vaccination drives. The other case study that I am now picking up is Khabar Lahariya in the heartlands of rural India, where the voices of the marginalized often fade into oblivion. Khabar Lahariya stands as a beacon of hope and empowerment. Founded in 2002, this community newspaper has not only reshaped the landscape of journalism, but has also catalyzed a movement for women's movement empowerment in Bundelkhand region. It has an impact in amplifying rural voices, empowering women journalists, and driving positive social change. These women hailing from marginalized communities now serve as the backbone of Khabar Lahariya's editorial team, challenging gender norms and amplifying the voices of their peers. Through their work, they have become role models for countless others, inspiring a new generation of women to pursue careers in media. These are some of the advantages of community newspapers, but there are certain issues and certain problems also. Like there is a financial constraint, there are staffing limitations, and more so, limitation of the reach. Community newspapers, by their very nature, have a limited geographical reach. This can make it challenging to attract advertisers looking to target a wider audience, further impacting financial sustainability. Then there is competition from digital media. The rise of digital media has significantly impacted print media. Many consumers now prefer to get their news online due to the convenience and the immediate power of it, leading to declining print readership. Digital platforms often offer extensive analytics and targeting options for advertisers, making them more attractive than print ads in community newspapers. Given their limited resources and local focus, community newspapers might not have the capability to delve deeply into investigative journalism or cover a wide array of topics. This can result in a focus on more surface level news, potentially overlooking significant but less apparent issues. Being deeply embedded in the community it can sometimes lead to biases in reporting, especially when the newspaper is owned by individuals or entities with specific political or economic interest within the community. The close relationship with local advertisers and the need to maintain good relations can also influence editorial independence, potentially leading to a reluctance to publish negative stories about local businesses or political figures. Social media platforms have become significant sources of local news for many people, offering real-time updates and community engagement opportunities. This can diminish the role of community newspapers as the primary source of local information. But despite all these limitations, we have to agree to the point that local newspapers, community newspapers, have a vital role to play in the development of journalism across the globe. It has helped and will always continue to help in fostering unity among community members and promotes economic growth. This was the lecture about community newspapers. Today I have made use of some of the references which you can see online, and you can refer to them if you need any further help. I hope you enjoyed this lecture.